This is the Marginally Geeky Show, the epically geeky book club.
Greetings and welcome to the Marginally Geeky Show, episode number 94. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight I'm joined by Sean, Chris, and Ray. How are y'all doing?
Peachy.
Great.
Tonight we are welcoming on a guest, and let me do the proper introduction for him. Justin Thomas James is a project manager for Soundbooth Theater, a company bringing more immersive experience to the audiobooks. Mr. James is not only a narrator of multiple book series, including Demon Card Enforcer, Dead Tired, and World Tree Online. He also composes music for many of the books they produce and does sound design. He has also won the 2020 Independent Audiobook Award for Lit RPG / Game Lit. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Thomas James.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. We are so glad we've got you on here. Before the show, you and I were talking a little bit about how everyone on this show primarily does their book reading. We still go back and forth about, is it reading? Is it listening? Whatever. We call it reading. But most of us primarily do our reading through audiobooks nowadays. So, but yeah, so we got to.
That's how we
absolutely. So when we got the chance to interview you, we were like, yes, let's do this. So I guess I'll go ahead and jump in first. When and how did you get into voice acting?
All right. So I grew up listening to audiobooks. It was always very kind of present in the household. My dad just loved listening to them. He'd take, me and my brother out to the library and let us pick different tapes and stuff. So audiobooks were always they just made sense to me. A lot of people, there was a period there. I feel like now it's different where everybody knows audiobooks and everybody's talking about Audible and stuff. But there was a period of time where everyone was like, "Oh, audiobooks! Like, what are those? That you could listen to books on tape? Like what?" And so when I had a full-time job after college for about 5 years, and I decided to take a course on audio engineering and mastering and sound plugins and all that good stuff. And it was mainly designed for music. But when I tried to actually practice and implement the skills I was learning, I found it just trying to record music was just way too precise and persnickety and just hard to get exactly how you want it. So I needed something simple that I could, just practice these skills. And it just made sense. It just clicked. I was like, oh, I could just read things. And I listened to a lot of Brandon Sanderson at the time. And it just occurred to me like, oh, maybe I could be like Michael Kramer and Kate Redding someday. And so, I just started reading stuff and reaching out to authors and seeing if they wanted me to read their stuff, and met some really great people, and here we are, about 8 or 9 years later. It's kind of the origin story.
I love the name dropping you just did. Like those 3 names, boy, it really takes me back. Like Kate,
Michael Kramer, Kate Redding, and Brandon Sanderson.
They seem to read everything. Well, not because I did cassettes growing up too, going to the library, and half of them in the library were read by those 2.
They're fantastic. I first discovered them. I had a gaming buddy who introduced me to the Mistborn series.
Yeah.
And Michael Kramer has such a rich, he's just got such a rich timbre to his voice that, and I just love his tone and his delivery. And Kate Redding is fantastic as well. And the way they do that story just blew me away.
That's awesome. So okay, that kind of talks about the how you got into it. So then maybe describe your process of getting into characters and maybe like how you get into reading for these audiobooks.
Yeah. So so I work for a company. It was mentioned at the beginning. Eugene mentioned Soundbooth Theater, and we have a. I would say we're all pretty much on the same page in terms of how we depict characters. I'd say that we lean more towards, if you've got like hyper realistic and hyper cartoony, we lean more towards the cartoon, where every character has a very unique voice, and we're really trying to kind of separate the characters out in a way that's kind of dynamic and colorful, and less nuanced. Sometimes calls for that, and we'll do that. So first, obviously, I'll read the script, and I'll go in and kind of just get a feel for the story. What do the characters, how do the characters relate to me? How do I hear them? What does their kind of dialogue feel like to me? A lot of the times in fantasy, lit RPG, nobody says whether or not they're British, but their mannerisms will come across as British somehow. It's like I've got these archetypes in my mind of like, oh, okay, this is like, oh, snooty British fellow. And this is like a tough, rough and tumble Southern guy. Even though nobody's like, they're not saying this guy's from Texas, right? Because there is no Texas in this fantasy world. And sometimes there is, but.
I've never heard Eugene talk like that.
No, I've heard that. We'd probably be a lot more successful as a podcast.
I've been here. I'm doing my impression of Eugene right now.
Sounds like
This is how he sounds to me.
He wishes.
Hi there, folks. I'm Eugene.
I'm this close to having you re-record everything for us.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Like, remind me at the end of this, I'm gonna have you do my voicemail or whatever. That would be fantastic.
Eugene, everyone. Definitely not someone else. Not some voice actor. No.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back in here because I have to ask, can you please tell me what you consider as a Canadian accent? Because I'm so frustrated by the Canadian accents out there.
Oh yeah, don't you know, eh? It's more of a Minnesota kind of, Midwestern sort of thing, eh? Yeah, I mean, like, I guess Bob and Doug McKenzie, is that? I mean, they screwed us. They just
they really did, eh?
They derailed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you get iconic characters like that are really, really popular and famous in the States, and every single Canadian sounds like that now. Yeah, the Canadian accent is, I think it's nuanced, it's subtle. Like you go to England, and there's like every area in England, it's a totally different, or Great Britain even, totally different accent in every city. You can there's villages where you can just walk, a few kilometers down the street. There, Canadian thing for you, Eugene. You can walk just a little ways down the street to another village, and they're going to sound completely different. Yeah. Whereas in Canada, I feel like maybe you get a bit different out. Well, in Newfoundland, that's probably the most iconic. Yeah, out east. Yeah. And then a little bit in Alberta and Calgary, but I feel like Vancouver, Toronto, well, I mean, I guess obviously Quebec. Quebec, we all know, we have an accent, so I don't know, but it feels less varied than England. But maybe that's just because I'm here and I'm listening to it all the time.
And I think for us, you have the Eastern accent, the Quebec accent. And it's not the accent, it's the words people use from province to province. It will tell you where you are. Like, I know my father growing up in the Ottawa area, my wife was like, "What? I don't understand what words he's using." And that I grew up with it, and I'm like it's normal words. Like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, where'd you grow up?
I've been in Quebec for a year and a half now, and I grew up speaking French, but the the church related swear words still throw me off. Or everything's just a church thing. I'm like, oh, is that a church thing? Wait, okay, that's a swear word. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally true.
Nice.
All I can hear is tabernacle.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just the whole interview now is just
Canadian swear words and like.
Well, okay. Did this come up? Because, okay, so is it the last? Is it the last Dungeon Crawler Carl where Mordecai becomes Canadian?
Yeah. Did
Was
you
that the
have
last
any
one?
say in that, Justin? Jesus,
Of course
Murphy.
not. I didn't even know this happened.
All
it's
I
funny
know
because-
is. Go on.
Okay, go on. No, please.
I was going to say all I know. So, like I said, our friend who's not on with us, he's the one that got us on to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and we were both ahead of everyone else. And when we got to that point, like he texted me, he goes, "Oh my God, Mordecai, this is the best version." I'm just like, okay. And so we get, because I thought for sure it's like, oh, he's going to be texting and doing kind of like what you said, like it's going to be like, rootin' tootin', whatever. And then when he comes on, and I'm just like, this is the best thing ever. And then as soon as Ray heard it, he's just like, what? So
I was ahead of Eugene.
were you? I can't remember.
I was Joseph and I had caught up to Joseph, and then when that book came out, he and I actually jumped ahead of him at one point. And I'm like, dude, what the
It was me when I got to that, because I was way behind you guys.
Yeah.
When I got to that point, I beg your finest pardon. What is happening? Why does Mordecai sound like I don't like this at all?
But to be fair, if Mordecai had become Texan, I'm sure that it would have ended up like what you were like. Apparently, how I said earlier.
Okay, all right. I have a confession, you guys. So I'm the COO of Soundbooth Theater, and I work very closely with Jeff Hayes, and I'm deeply involved in all facets of production and everything we do here. And I have not listened to DCC past book 1.
Oh,
Wow. Okay.
Well, in
Don't fire
fairness,
me,
though,
Jeff.
how many books is Soundbooth Theater producing?
Oh,
Honest.
like 4. We've done 4 books total.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when I looked up your name, it was like just kept going
Yeah.
in Audible. I'm just
You've
like,
got like 40
wow.
writers or whatever, or more. And,
Yeah. It's grown a lot. It's wild. It's wild, in the past 5 years, just how much like momentum, Soundbooth Theater has got, and people really like multicast. And a lot of people like sound effects and music. Not everybody, and that's cool. But when it comes to lit RPG, I think that we offer something that's really that really fits the genre. That like kind of leaning more towards the cartoony like depictions of characters just fits well in lit RPG. It's what the genre is kind of designed for, in my opinion, is these larger than life characters literally in a video game sometimes. And we have fun. We have so much fun. God, like I may have only listened to the first book, but you can tell Jeff is just having a ball with, like every single character, and like some of the characters that I've never even heard really like him do in the audiobook. I just know of them from fans being like, oh, that character, Samantha. Like I've never heard his depiction of Samantha in the actual audiobook, but what a riot.
So one of the first, sorry, Chris. Oh, right. So one of the first books, I think Sean and I are the ones that got started on this, that were I believe we're Soundbooth Theater. The Fred the Undead Accountant, the vampire accountant. Is that what it is, Sean?
the vampire accountant.
Yeah, the vampire accountant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not us. I don't.
That's not y'all. Okay.
No.
There was 2 versions on Audible, and I listened to the first one that was just a straight read through, and then it said, "Oh, there's another version you can download." And when I went on to the second book, then I got all the background and everything, and all the sound, and the multiple readers and everything, and I was just like, this is so much better. I'm going back and redoing the first one and then picking up from here.
Is that graphic audio?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. My apologies. Yeah, it's graphic audio. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
But then
But-
we've moved on to some other books that I'm just like, yes, if there's a more immersive version, absolutely, like 100% for me.
And that's what really drew me to going through the sound booth there, because your titles tend to be more immersive. They're audio dramas or more than one narrator usually or something. I really enjoy that. It is, and I've been listening to audiobooks since I was like 5 years old, so like a century. But
we often talk about when we're listening to these books, we often talk about the narration and whether it's a performance or if someone's reading to you really well.
Yeah.
And these performances are like stellar. We just
thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just got finished reading Dead Tired.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great one.
Nope, not that one.
No, it always wants to do it. It's the one it wants to do. There we go.
I'm pointing in the wrong direction. This way. Oh, that way. There it is. Hi.
So that one for me, Chris and I have listened to that one.
Yeah.
My first question from that is, did you try the recipe at the back of the book?
My goodness, no. So actually, my fiance wrote that. She wrote that. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, she wrote the cookie recipe at the back of the book. And a little Easter egg there. No, I haven't actually tried it. Some of our fans have, and they've sent pictures, and it's fantastic. And they say they're really good. So if you want to try some peanut butter, what is it?
Peanut butter
cute as a peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, definitely listen to Dead Tired and wait for the post credits. Yeah, I mean, like, talk about having fun. Like, that was just, me and Ravensdagger were just shooting the shit, and we were like, we should put a cookie recipe at the end of the book. Ravensdagger, also Canadian. He lives an hour south of Montreal.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Just listening to you do, Alex, how do you keep all of the character voices straight in your head? Or do you forget and then you have to go back and listen and be like, oh yeah, that's what they sounded like, if there's been like a big gap between books?
That's a great question. So yes, both.
Okay.
So we do have we do have a voice reference folder that is it's just like a folder that we try to maintain for our different productions, just so that like sometimes it is a long gap between books, and if I've narrated 10 books in a year, and then the sequel of the book comes out, I've got like over 100 characters in my head, since that point. And there's obviously some characters that I just know them, and it's less about them being kind of I'm starting to feel I'm going, okay, I'm exploring here. I'm exploring just what is it that I do. And I kind of went a little Jeff Goldblum there. Sorry, side note. And it's less that the characters are in my head, and more that they're just in my body, or my soul, if you will, where just like, I am Alex, I am Harold. There are some characters, not every character, but some of them that's just like, that character has latched on to this, ethereal part of Justin, and it's just going to be there for eternity. And so, from there, as soon as their name pops up in the script, it's really easy to go into their voices. And just like, it's just coming out. It's fine. And actually, sometimes the end credits scenes, it's just improvised.
Like if I'm just doing Harold, it's just Harold just kind of flows out of me. I'm not really doing anything special. Now, obviously, if I was more clever, I could come up with puns easier, but I'm not, unfortunately. So I have to kind of think about those. But everything else just kind of like, this is just how he is, I suppose.
I love that. I love Harold.
So
good.
Full warning for Eugene and Sean. That is going to be my next recommendation for the group to listen to. Is
I'm good with it. Like,
it works for me.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah. Because because it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. Because I was listening to it first, and I was telling him, I'm like, he's a punny guy. It's very punny.
It's very punny.
You love, you know. And I was telling our youngest, he's listening. They're listening to it too, and they love pun. And I was like, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That makes me so happy.
Well, and it's a little less as intense as maybe Dungeon Crawler Carl is.
Oh yeah.
Confession.
Oh yeah.
So I've listened to all 7, and I got burnt out after the 6th. I'm like, I need a break. I have to have a break. If I hear one more thing about my beloved Donut or Carl going through any kind of peril, I'm gonna cry.
Yep.
So then I listened to the 7th, and then this one, because I'm very new to lit RPG. This one I was just like, oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank goodness. This is low stakes.
Yeah.
This is nice. And so we've got the second one. So I'm going to listen to that one too. But
amazing.
Just based on where I was after the 7th, I'm like, I like this way better. It's way nicer.
Yeah. Well, totally different vibes, right? And
completely different.
I'm excited for you to listen to book 2 because my favorite character gets introduced, and I don't actually play that character, and you can guess. Let me know if you can guess who it is when you do start listening. I'd love to hear that. But I do want to note on Dungeon Crawler Carl, and just like, you're not the first person to have said that.
Oh, okay.
And Matt is, I've only listened to book 1. And I haven't listened to any of Matt's other work, except for actually Kaiju Battlefield Surgeon. I've listened to that, and something, but there's something about him and the way he holds himself and the way he speaks at conventions and just everything I've heard from other people, where it's just, I know that he is very, very, very good at writing characters and writing character interactions. There's something real there, like seriously real in the interactions, between, and the relationships that are formed between these characters. He's so good at that I could only imagine when those characters and those relationships start going through strain, and when some characters, connected to them, start to go in their own directions. That's so heavy, because then you're invested. You're just totally pulled in.
Oh yeah,
Is
very
that accurate, would you say?
Oh,
100%.
Yeah, very accurate. I will be walking and I will stop and I'll be like, Matt, you're far, bud. You don't need to.
Yeah.
I get very invested because he does. He's very good at characters. He makes you believe, and that's why we all love them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So speaking of the authors, how much input do the authors get? Like, is there much collaboration between the voice actors and the authors on how these characters are developed, like through voice, or is it just strictly you reading the script and giving them life yourself, or is there a collaboration there?
Good question. So for it's going to be different for different narrators, also publishing houses. So Soundbooth Theater runs on the philosophy that our authors are our partners. We are, and obviously, like, other publishing houses will think that way as well, but creative partners. Like, we are working with the author to bring about the audio vision. Oxymoron, but it's the vision on an auditory plane, and to rule out the author and to say, like, we don't need him, what does he know, or what does she know? It's like, well, I mean, they just kind of invented the world. Maybe they have something to say about how it should sound, how these characters that they spent, maybe years of their lives developing, maybe there's something. So, to answer your question, like, I feel very strongly about collaborating with authors and, sitting down with them. And like, there are horror stories about narrators sitting down with some authors, and just like, some authors just really, they're very, concerned about their story. They really, really want their vision to shine through, sometimes to the detriment of the narrator's own voice. So that does happen. It can happen. It's a risk. In my opinion, the reward far outweighs the risk, and the reward is just some of the best like relationships and friendships I've made over the years. Like God, James Osiris Baldwin, the author of Archemi Online, he is a fast friend. We're very, very much connected, and yeah, there it is right there. And we just love chatting. We're just buds, and we also talk about Archemi Online as more than just a production. It's like, how do we bring this thing to life? And we're talking about music together. We're talking about character voice design. We're talking about how does the character develop over the course of the series. We're going into book 7, which is being written right now. How does it develop? And so and how does that affect the how does that come to be in an audio plane? How do we hear that the character has developed and grown? And so on paper, the amount of direction that James has given me on some of these characters is way more than what some narrators that's expected of them. But it's about that collaboration really helps feed me, and then we build off of one another. And it is a story that also is just very special to me. It was the first story that I composed music to. It's the first story, one of the first stories that I did with Soundbooth Theater. But also it really reminds me of Final Fantasy, which I played a ton of growing up. And it's just, yeah, I just love it. I love the characters, and there's a depth there as well. I love the depth that James brings to it. It feels like the subtext, what he's actually saying, is something that really resonates with me, even if I don't know exactly what that is. So I'm hopefully that answers your question, that like working with authors and getting to hear their vision for the audiobook is such a gift. It can be such a gift. And it's brought me a lot of joy and great friendship.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's like 5 things I want to go off on from what you just said. But I'm going to start here with the production stuff. So when, so for example, depending on the book, there may be multiple narrators. How do you plan those sessions? Are they very much just someone goes in and does theirs, and then someone else comes in and does their lines? Or do are y'all ever able to get together and do more like a table read, like the older cartoons used to do, for example?
Oh, table reads are the best.
Oh, I love hearing this.
There is nothing better than getting together with other actors and just like playing off of one another in real time. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do that. Not for all our productions. I'll get into that. But my favorite way to work with other authors and produce is live in person, if possible. That's the best. That's the cream of the crop. But usually it's over a call like this. We'll both have our recording software going at the same time, or we'll have some special program that can pull their audio and record directly into our Ableton set. Ableton's the program that we use. And what's great about it is that we're feeding off of one another, and you can get like really natural sounding dialogue that way, where you can hear the other person breathing in the background. You can hear them kind of go like, like that's not written in the script. Yeah. But to get that across, it just adds this extra layer of depth to the experience of the listener. So yes to that. And then I would say our like more bread and butter type of production is one where we are kind of doing a relay. We're passing a set along. So the narrator will record a foundation, is what I'm calling it now. It's like these things are constantly changing. Next year it might be called something completely different. But so narrator will record a foundation, and in that, they'll record, narration in one track. And one thing that's special, if you ever watched Jeff or myself or Annie or Ryan record live, sometimes they'll share their screens. We record into tracks, different tracks live. So we'll switch tracks live while we're recording. And it's a bit tricky, but we get used to it after time, and it just feels second nature. And what that allows us to do is organize the sets in a way that it's very easy for another actor to then, pick up the set afterwards. After the foundation's done, zip, upload it, and then the next actor takes it, and they look at their own track, and then they can see where all of their lines are, because the narrator has recorded placeholders. And usually they there's different narrators will do it differently. I generally will do it like, I'll play it serious just to keep myself in the scene. But if you ever get to hear some of those placeholders from like Lori's placeholders are hilarious, where she just doesn't care at all. She's just like, narration. As like a placeholder line or whatever. So it's fun to just like sit and listen to some of the stuff that she's put on. So then the voice actor will record their lines into those tracks and pass it down the chain until all the actors are done, then send it to proofing, retakes, polish, done. But the reason that we do it this way is because it allows for, even though we don't get to record off of one another, it's a production method that allows for us to really work. We can hear what the narrator has done. We can still listen to what they've done up to that point, and then do a line that fits within the tone of the scene. Like if the main character read by the narrator is just talking normally, or maybe they're at a bar and it doesn't say anywhere that they're at a bar that the second actor has seen. So maybe the character is talking loudly. If the other voice actor hears that, has the opportunity to hear how the first person is recording their line, then they can be like, oh, like it sounds like we're in some type of bar here. Let me raise my voice as well, so that it's not like, hey, did you see that man over there? What was he doing with that? I don't know. What was he doing? It's a lot easier to avoid situations like that.
Right. Yeah.
So can I ask what your placeholder was for Limpet?
The Limpet is kind of like this, I guess. And, Harold! Stop, please.
Right on.
Oh, she's so cute.
Well, now it's book 3 now, so I hear Dory's performance, and
yes.
she is so cute. She's such a little like the character. She's got like this. I love what Dory did, and she's got like this nasal sort of quality to her.
Yep.
Which I just have in my head now, so it's easy to do a placeholder for her because it's Dory now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My favorite is that Harold just chucked her over a lake.
Oh yeah,
Love
that's
that.
great. See ya.
It's like right in the first. Boil anything.
Do you think Soundbooth Theater will ever release any of those bloopers? Because I think it would be hilarious.
Fun.
I was gonna say I'm trying to remember. I'm sure Sean's got a mind like a trap jaw. He can remember this stuff. I know there's a couple of series that we've listened to where they've done outtakes after at the end of the book.
Yeah.
And I know it's come into phase and stuff with movies and everything, and then it kind of went back out and so on and so forth. But yeah, it would be something fun to throw in there at the end. If y'all just like
definitely
5 more minutes here, why not?
yeah. I would love to do that. Oh God, I just like, because I think Lori's crack me up every time. Like just a highlight reel. Actually, we're working on Calamitous Bob 2 right now. We could get some Lori placeholder lines and just like stack them up, back to back, and start the video very serious, like here at Soundbooth Theater. we believe that, yada, 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 yada. And this is how we set the foundation for our other actors to succeed, and then just like let Lori rip it for
that'd be
a
amazing.
couple minutes.
The advertisements at the end of the Carl books are very they're hilarious because they're putting down, they're poking at the narrators, they're poking at the author, of course, they're poking at the whole thing. And I love it. Number one, it also ties into the story a little bit, but did you say earlier that those are kind of like just kind of off the cuff sometimes?
Oh, good question. Sometimes, I believe in those cases, Matt writes those.
Okay.
So there is like, some underlying intention, and actually sometimes, so usually the improv part, it's like usually a combination. For Dead Tired, for example, we wrote, or Raven's Dagger wrote like the setup to the cookie thing and all that stuff. But when it came to the actual like credits, me reading the credits and being like, oh, who's this person? Blah, 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 blah. That there's improv there. And actually the book 3, I think I mostly completely improved a lot of parts. But then Raven's Dagger sent in a hilarious D&D play session. Sorry, I no spoilers, but it's a lot of fun when you get there.
Nice.
So it's a combination. There's elements of, oh god, Jeff can improv as Donut all day long. Donut is Jeff's alter ego at this point.
I believe that.
So who's your favorite character? Who's the one that you walk around and just it slips out?
Oh my god, it's Harold. It's 100% Harold. I sometimes I'm just walking around the house and I'm like, whoa, look at that.
Oh, that was Harold. Hey, Harold.
Hello.
It's like I'm a walking ventriloquist or like a puppeteer or something. Just I got these.
I think he would laugh his own jokes.
Oh, that's good. Yes, of course I do. If I don't laugh at them, who will? They're terrible.
So when did you start doing voices? Like I know you said when you were much younger, you were trying to get into music, and then you decided you want to start recording audio. When did you discover, oh, hey, I can actually do some decent voices, and it's worked out well for you?
Oh, wow. Good question. I didn't really think about it. I think voices for me have always been play.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always just kind of like, oh yeah, this is fun. This would be a lot of fun to just, do more of. I never thought that I would have the opportunity to do that, but I never thought that I wouldn't have the opportunity either. It was just kind of like, I like doing funny voices sometimes. Great question though. I think probably so in high school I was a member of the theater sports troupe, which is the improv club.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you just like we would have like every Friday we would have a at lunch, all the kids would gather in the theater, and the theater sports group would just, play, a game back and forth of like, try to do a scene, and then the other team tries to do a scene, and then, the audience votes on, which they liked better. And it's just like, you make it up as you go. You've got some parameters around what, the story needs to be about, and then you just go with it. And I think it was really liberating for me to just go out on stage and not literally have no idea what I'm doing, and just something comes out and people laugh, and that was such an empowering experience that I think that was connected as well, because sometimes you say something and
I'm British, I suppose. Let's see, this is the voice that's just come out. I didn't expect this to be what I came out, but it is. This is it. So I'm just going to do the rest of the interview like this, I suppose.
It's just like, it's really like, it's so refreshingly surprising what is inside all of us, just waiting to be voiced. That to have an opportunity there where you're just like, oh, I got to come up with something funny. Just do it. I think that just made it really easy for me to make the jump to, professional voice actor now.
Mm-hmm.
That just, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So as a voice actor, because you hear about how Broadway stars take care of their voice, like their throat. They have all these rituals and like products they use. Do you have, because if you're talking for a living, that's a lot of strain. Do you have remedies that you use? Is there like warm-ups, whatever that you do to help?
Great question. I do the same 10-minute warm-up that I've done for 5 years. It's on YouTube. It's by a YouTuber named Shadow of a Failure, who was this or at the time she was YouTubing like guitar stuff, and she was sharing her journey about her trying to get into the industry and become a guitarist and a singer. And she posted this video, and it starts, wanted to do a vocal warm-up. I thought maybe you'd like to do it. Follow along if you want to do it. And then it starts. And it's just the same intro every time. She's just like walking into the studio. And I've seen it thousands of times. There's like I think there's over 1.2 million. I've got it.
Wow, that's awesome.
We're going to do a vocal warm-up, and I'm going to film it. So maybe you want to follow along if you want to do it. So sweet. It's called Studio Diaries, and this video has 1.4 million views.
Wow.
So, and I've looked at and when I started it was at like 100,000. It posted 12 years ago. Anyways, I just like I've looked into like there's some like really fun hip like me do 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 do, and I'm just like no. The thing I like about this vocal warm up is that it's like a teacher in like some school that is like being like, okay, all right, let's do the first one. We're gonna do and it's so nostalgic. So this is I gave you a whole arc there. Yes, I do vocal warm-ups, and I think I just want to take a moment to share my love of this 10-minute video that I can't get off of. 10 years from now, I'll probably still be listening to it. And it's great. It's great, and it helps a lot. It makes a big difference.
Nice. Going back, so not only are you a narrator and you've got these wonderful voices that you go through, you've also composed music for some of the books.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
All right.
No pressure.
Yeah, so music, I went to school for music. Went to school for music therapy, actually, of all things. And I worked as a music therapist in nursing homes for a long time. And I guess music has always been like a big part of my life. And the way that I've kind of related to music was always like, okay, well, first I was in Royal Conservatory, and then I was, a music therapist. And then I got into jazz, and jazz really kind of, opened things up for me and taught me about, oh, this is how it all works. Wow, I like this. This is fun. And so there's that. But always there was sort of this like weird compartmentalization where my music was like, okay, well, I do that for other people. And it wasn't really something that I did for myself. Even like, listening to music, I love like, Billy Joel and, the Beatles, and like that has a special place in my heart. But honestly, the music that just speaks to my soul on some visceral level that I'll never understand, possibly related to a past life, is JRPG music. Whether that's Final Fantasy or Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI, even though I've never played it. I've only really played Final Fantasy. I've played some other JRPGs, but it's all Final Fantasy to me. The music from it. Also, I'll give Studio Ghibli, I think falls into this category for me. There's this fantasy Japanese style orchestral music that I just like. It just sings to my soul. And when I had the opportunity to do Archemi Online, and I was reading it, I just had this voice inside of me that was like, "You gotta compose music for this." It was a Texan voice. And he was telling me, "You get up there, show them what you got." And I just was like, I could compose Final Fantasy music to this story, and wouldn't that be cool? So the first book I recorded maybe 16 minutes of music, and then the next book I think it was like 50 minutes of music, like 12 to 15 tracks on that one, and then the next one was like the same. So there's like books 2, 3, 4. Like I love the music that I worked on with James for 4. It's just like I love it. 5 and 6, like all full OSTs, essentially. And that just, I haven't done as much composing for other series. I did compose the music at the beginning of Dead Tired, the prologue scene with the harpsichord and the organ and all that stuff. That's me. And that's fun. That's more kind of cartoon campy sort of but the thing that's always going to sing to me is that like sweeping orchestral Final Fantasy, and just like, how can we make it more and more intense for the fight scenes? And just like, oh, okay, I'm going to add horns here. Well, there's not much room for anything else. You've pretty much filled the entire soundscape. I don't care. I'm doing it.
So I have to ask, anytime you finish or complete a project, are you like me and you're like,
oh yeah,
like, that immediately just like comes out of my mouth, or it's in my head, playing a board game, whatever. Like that is victory music right there.
I lied. I've never done that in my life. But I'm going to do it moving forward, because it's
it will improve your life. Let me tell you,
it will. Yeah, exactly.
So, just anything you
swing
the
butcher knife around.
Yeah, just finish the meeting, just walking out. Anyway,
so in our house it's da 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 da, because
Zelda house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Yes.
That's when I get a new item. If I pick up a new phone or something, that's when I anyway.
Just though you mentioned Final Fantasy, and for me, Final Fantasy VIII is where I came in. That was kind of my introduction. I was late to the game. I was getting ready. I was going into college. Final Fantasy VIII was the one that, and that opening scene has always stayed with me.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying. Okay, so I'm a big 7 and 9 person.
Okay,
and 8 I have played. I played 8 a couple times. I got all the way to the final boss, and I saved at a point where I wasn't able to go back and train more, and so I was never able to beat the final boss, so I never beat it. But remind me, refresh my memory. What is the intro of 8?
It's like the feathers, and then the gunblade coming down, and like just
it's an opera. It's like very operatic.
Yeah, it starts off, it's all voices, and then it builds in with the strings. And then, like you said, let's fill this as it just gets.
I as soon as I see it, I'm going to look it up after this video or this interview. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna relive some nostalgia there. Because those cinematics in Final Fantasy,
just
like for the time that they came out, I was just like, this looks real. And now, of course, I'm like, sure, it's pretty cool, but I loved those. I lived for those.
You'll see it in me. It's the waves start coming in, and you hear the waves.
Well, while we're
Thank
talking
you.
about it, what other hobbies and stuff do you have? Like when you're not recording or producing or writing music, what else are you into?
Oh, I have a puppy, so that's about it. That's all I can care about. I do like the game. I do like playing. I'm playing Oblivion Remastered right now,
Okay.
which is also a nice nostalgic return
Yeah.
to my high school days. Yeah, so I play video games, and I am starting to think about getting back into tabletop role playing as well.
Oh, okay.
I used to play a lot of D&D, and then I stopped for a while there. But now, I don't know. I'm starting to feel the itch a little bit to get back and just kind of flex those and just see how it feels. It's been a few years now. So
My my
yeah.
son, my oldest, he's been a D&D player. That's how he met his friends in high school and carried it through. So he's 20 now, and he's back from college, but he's been the DM for years and years and years. And
Yeah.
you just talking to you, and it reminds me, like, because we have him home right now. He's normally in Ottawa, going for
Okay.
game programming,
Oh, nice.
and so he's home right now, and he's in the room right across from us. So
Yeah.
he's the DM online. So
Yeah.
he's playing with all his friends online. So he's making all these voices up
Yes.
as he. Oh man, like, because he used to do that back in high school, and like we'd listen through the door and just like try not to bust a gut laughing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
I'm sure.
he hasn't changed other than he's gotten louder. Like, he's 20 years
Yeah.
old, but so many voices. It is so fun to listen to.
You know what, Sean? That actually brings me back to the other question that I think it was Eugene that asked about the voices and when I decided to start or like started to connect with that. And I think it actually might have been D&D as well. That, talk about a place where you have to come up with, character voices very quickly, and a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so cool that your son's into it and he's getting louder with his voices. Are there any that are very good? Are there any that you're like, that one's actually,
so I don't
that's
play
great.
with him that often. He doesn't
Okay.
allow me after I like used to kill the shopkeeper like right away or something.
Oh,
Like
one of
totally
those.
screw up the
Murder
story.
hobo.
But yeah, he's got some voices that like he'll drop his voice. Like he has a fairly a lower voice anyway, but he'll drop it, and it's weird because he'll like speak from the back of his throat and his nose at the same time. It's just it's a really weird, but he's used that
Interesting.
voice a few times too.
Oh,
Like he's
damn,
all over
I
the
get-
map,
no, how would
but he's
you-
consistent. So
That's
like
amazing. Good for him.
but
Wow.
yeah, like, and because he's writing his own computer games and all that in like during the summer, and so I don't think he's gotten too many characters, but like he wants to get into like the anime type stories and stuff like that. So yeah, he might be looking you guys up at some point to start voicing the acting.
Yeah.
I know
Send
you'd like
him
to do
over
some
to,
game acting, so there you go.
There you go. Yeah, team at soundbooththeater.com. That's where you send the email.
So speaking of teams, how did you meet Jeff?
Oh, so Jeff and I met on Twitter when I first started narrating. I was just like, as I said, I was just reaching out to different authors and being like, hey, like, can I record your book? No. Okay. All right. Can I record the first chapter? Yeah. Okay. I can do that, And so I was just reaching out to everybody. I was friending people on Twitter, following like narrators, and I found this narrator who named Jeff, and I just like saw like a couple of his videos, and I remember seeing one video of him doing a promotion for a book that he recorded where he had someone make a custom mask of the character. It's some like thriller horror thing. The killer had this mask, this creepy mask. And so he had someone custom make it molded to his face. Something like that, and so like it's like a speed or a time lapse of that process, the person like going around and like painting. And I just remember seeing that and being like, cool, that's cool. I guess all narrators do this, but that's pretty cool. And now obviously I know, like I on some level I must have known that he was doing something special, because I decided, of all the narrators that I'd befriended or like Twitter befriended, or reached out, I decided to reach out to him. And I think I just reached out. I've got the whole conversation probably, but I just reached out. I was like, hey, like I want to be a narrator too, and if you have any tips, I'd love to get your tips, and blah blah blah. And he was really cool and gracious and like, oh yeah, nice man. And he checked out the video that I'd done on my YouTube. A first chapter of an author named Taryn Matharu, the Summoner Origins, I think was the first chapter of that. And he listened to it. He was like, oh, actually, you're pretty good. You're pretty good, man. And so I was like, yes, validation. Let's go.
Yes.
And and then that was it for a while. And then one day, I think I just like reached out to him just on a whim of something. I was just like, hey, like, okay, so quickly, I'll add that ACX wasn't available in Canada. ACX is the Audible Creation Exchange, and that's where narrators are paired up with authors and are able to, it's like an audition platform. It's also like a royalty distribution platform where, books go up to Audible, and then, they're taken down, and then, royalties are distributed. It was only available in the US and UK at that time. So I reached out to Jeff and I was like, hey, like, I'm hoping someday to be, working on ACX, blah, 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 but it's not today. And he was like, hey, well, actually, I have this audiobook that I think you'd be really good for. And if, I don't have the time to take it on, would you do it? And I was like, well, I can't because ACX isn't available. He's like, I think we can figure something out. So I worked with the author. Her name was Shauna Roberts. And it was a book called Measure of a Man and blah, 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 blah. I won't get into all the details of that. But he got me my first like full length audiobook project.
Nice.
Which was great. And then, the author just sent me the royalties, herself, just like for a while until the royalties dried up. And I was like, hey, look, like if any more money comes in for this, just hang on to it. She was really, really sweet, lovely, great author. And then that was it for years. I didn't hear from Jeff again. I didn't reach out to Jeff. I forgot that he even existed until ACX came to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to Canada, I remember I was actually in Florence at the time, and I was so excited to get out of Italy and get back home so I could start recording, which is, I regret it now, but or I miss Italy, but yeah. So I get back and I start recording auditions, right? And I'm just like, yes, I can audition, and like I'm gonna get so many projects. It's gonna be so good. It's not hard at all to audition. I'm so good. I'm just gonna get the first thing I do. And I was actually really lucky because I got the fourth thing, which happened to be a lit RPG by, his name is Domino Finn. And it's called Afterlife Online. It's like really early sort of lit RPG. Virtual reality, in a video game.
I'm pretty sure I read that.
It's great. Yeah. It is a fantastic trilogy. If you ever want like a good classic virtual reality lit RPG, definitely check out Afterlife Online by Domino Finn. So anyways, I audition and I get the part. I got it. And I was like, this project was for me. I knew I was going to get it because it's about video games. Like, how can I not get something that's about video games? I did sound effects. I did music. I was actually recording in multiple tracks at that point as well. I was doing that. And, so I produced the project and I, get it out. It's my first big paid, big name project. And then I auditioned for another title and 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 another, auditioned for 20 to 30 titles and didn't get any of them. And I was like, whoa, this sucks. But I remembered Lit RPG. So I decided to go and, take matters into my own hands. I'm going to go on Amazon.com and I'm going to find Lit RPG authors and I'm going to break their doors down until they let me narrate their book. And so I found one right away, oh God, what was it called? Unsold, I think it was. Three Monkeys. There's a bunch of different ones. Oh God, it's been so long. But I find, Lit RPG and I reach out, I go to find the author's info, see if I can figure that out, find their website or whatever. And last second before I go to their website, I see, they got an audiobook. Shoot. Okay. Well, who's the narrator? Oh, Jeff Hayes. Whatever. It doesn't matter. All right, let's go to the next, one. Okay. Another Lit RPG. Found it. Narrator, Jeff Hayes. Okay. Another Lit RPG. Okay. All right. This one. Nope. Narrator, Jeff Hayes. And I'm just like, Jeff Hayes, who the hell is this guy? He's just got everything. Wait a second. This name sounds familiar. Of course, I go into Twitter and I see the conversation. I'm like, holy shit, this is the guy that got me the job 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I reach out to him again on Twitter. I'm like, hey, so ACX is available in Canada. I just produced a project that, or I just put it together. It's called Afterlife Online by Domino Finn. And just here's a link if you want to check it out. And also I'd love to chat and touch base and, whatever. So he's like, let's get on a call. I'm like, sweet, okay. So very abrupt. And we get on a call. He's like, okay. So Afterlife Online, I auditioned for that project and I didn't get it. You got it. And I was like, holy shit, I got a project that you didn't get. And he's like, I'm starting something and I'd like to talk with you more about working closer together. And that's kind of the rest of the story, the origins of Soundbooth Theater. It was just weeks afterwards. I was on running a Soundbooth Theater live with Andrea Parsino. Jeff wasn't even there. It was just me and Andrea, a legend in Lit RPG narration, but not at the time. And it was just this, that was what a great introduction. And God, I love that story because I won. Jeff had his own game, but also Jeff has just been such a fantastic leader and visionary for Soundbooth Theater, and that spirit that he brought to that promo that he did of the mask, of the very first thing that I ever saw him doing, that spirit is alive in Soundbooth Theater as a company. He's always trying to push the envelope. He's always trying to do new things. He's always trying to present these stories in the absolute best, most fun light that he possibly can. And he's an inspiration, a true inspiration. So I'm excited for you guys to get him on, and he can tell that story and share his perspective.
Nice. I love that story. I love that story. That's fantastic, and you should be very proud of that story. That is a great origin story for
it is. Yeah. No. Thank you for sitting with me on that journey. I love getting into that one because I'm like, I feel like it pays off, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we like hearing people's stories. I mean, that's why we have people on here and we're interviewing everyone. But also you've got a great voice. So we're all sitting here and it's just like, oh no, I can listen to this guy read the phone book. It's cool. So you just keep going.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
so nice of of you. My goodness. Chandler. Chandler Bing.
Oh my god.
Oh my, that was good. That was really good.
You auditioning, Chris? What's going on there?
Oh, do that one. That's it.
We need a Janice voice. Stat.
Oh, okay.
Chris, get her on the phone.
To be a little more serious, it sounds like, I mean, the fact that all of the production y'all are putting in on the books, y'all have wonderful readers, obviously, who have, great voices. You'll have the sound effects, you'll have music and stuff going. It is very much, I don't want to say anti, but going against the other thing that kind of seems to be creeping into audiobooks, and that is the use of AI. And we have talked to multiple people. We've talked to writers. We've talked to one of our good friends that we interviewed. She's currently writing books right now. And then we've talked to independent movie makers. And it's like, what is AI to you, and how do you see it going forward in the industry? And I know from a audiobook aspect, it's like, no, like, no, let's not even go down this road. But is it something that you can see most people seem to be taking on as a tool, but definitely not a replacement? I'm assuming that's where you're coming from, but I want to hear your thoughts.
I think that's a fair assumption. Honestly, my opinion on AI changes as quickly as AI develops. Like, it's just like every day I'm just like, I hate AI. Actually, this is pretty helpful. Oh my God, this is amazing. And it's just like every day it changes. So if I'm going to answer that question today, I think everything I know, it's like AI has... It is a fantastic tool. You're 100% right about that. It's so great for just like, I love it for just organizing scattered artist thoughts, where I'm just like word vomit into like a text box, and it'll be like, oh, that's very great. Well put. Let me just organize that for you. Here you go. This is what you said, basically. And I'm like, this is what I said. And it just makes things, so coherent when, I think there's so much going on in our minds these days. I don't know if I'm the only person who feels this way, but there's a lot going on in my head, and sometimes it can get really foggy. So to have a tool that can help bring clarity to my thoughts and my ideas, that's I definitely see its value for that. Also, its ability to remember things and remember past conversations and contextualize thoughts that you've had, where like I've been talking to it about like, Soundbooth Theater things, and it'll be like, oh, this reminds me of something that you spoke about with, when you made a note about Joseph Campbell and blah, 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 blah. Is that something you want to explore? And I'm just like, well, you're making connections, like there's neurons firing in this thing faster than my own brain. Like it's truly a marvel and a wonder. I feel like there should be a but here. I don't know if there is a but. It truly is a marvel and a wonder. And maybe it's an and I definitely recognize its limitations. And I think we have an opportunity as a culture, as a society, as human beings to really look closely at what is it that we get, from a creative lens at least, what is it that we're actually getting from stories? What is it that we're actually getting from human-generated content versus AI? And how is that different? And the thing that I've noticed, and I won't get too deep into it, but just like a little bit, personally, I have used AI. I'll admit I've used AI for personal struggles where I'm like dealing with, something maybe in my relationship or something with internal feelings or something with therapy or what have you. And I'll put it into like ChatGPT, and I'll ask it like, what's going on or whatever. And first of all, it's very validating. It's like, you know what? You're so brave for bringing that up. Wow. Like, you know, good for you. And it's just like right away, like that ego struggle, like, yes, yes, I am brave. And then it, you know, goes on and it does make some like coherent things, or like, you know, I'll have like a conflict or something that I need to resolve. And I'm like, okay, AI, how would I do this in a nonviolent communications? Have you guys heard of that?
Mhm.
How would I, you know, approach this conflict from a nonviolent communications Marshall Rosenberg sort of standpoint? And it'll be like, oh, this is what you do. First you observe, then you look at the feelings, then you look at the needs, and then you look at the request or whatever. And so that's great. And sometimes that's handy. But then at the same time, when I've gone to it for kind of advice, and this is going to be obvious to you guys, and that's the reason I'm using this as an example, it just feels transient. It'll validate, it'll make me feel good for like, you know, an hour.
Mhm.
But then I'm like back on it, like, oh, I feel crappy again. It'll be like, this is the answer. You're like, yes, that is the answer. I feel it again. And it's just this cycle where it's almost like giving myself a shot of validation here, where I just like, and I've stopped using it like that. And the reason is because it feels so transient, because it feels like such just like a sugar rush, really, of, you know, emotional support, that it really, like, it just doesn't compare. And I don't think it can ever compare, because there's always going to be this thought in the back of my mind that, well, this isn't actually a human. This isn't actually a person. And somehow that's different. So what is it that we're actually, so we're being invited to look closely at why are human interactions so important, you know, in that lens. And then, you know, conversely, I don't know what the word is, whatever. I'll get ChatGPT to tell us later. When it comes to art and creative art, I think that we're also being invited there. Like, what is it that we actually get from art? Because I don't think, I think that we've been on this road for a long time. I think that it is kind of flippant. What's the word? You know, the kind of transient attitude towards art, you know, through social media, flippant attitude. I can't think of the right word right now. Art has kind of become this sort of, it's almost, you know, cheapened, you know, where you look at some of the stories that are coming out today and you compare that to Shakespeare. And, you know, it's not a judgment or a criticism necessarily, but there's something in Shakespeare that isn't in, oh God, I need a good example of a crappy story. Twilight, sure. That isn't in Twilight. Now, Twilight has its qualities. It was famous. It was popular for a reason. It's got that something. It's like, you know, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I compare it kind of to a lot of people are going to hate this maybe. I don't know, listening to this show, but junk food. There's like,
absolutely.
You know, I love junk food. I eat it all the time. Probably shouldn't, but it's like stories are starting to feel like diet to me. You know, what are the stories? What are the ideas that are filling our mind? Are we filling our minds with stories of hope? Or are we filling our minds with stories of despair and pain, or stories that just don't make any sense, that aren't rooted in some deep human truth? And we don't always need that. But I think that there is something important and sustaining about how we understand the world that Shakespeare was able to get across, but that if we just watch Twilight over and 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 over again, we're never going to get the same level of storytelling nutrients that we can get from, you know, literature, the greats. And I say this being someone who failed English or almost failed English all through high school. I had no idea what was going on. I hated Shakespeare. But now I'm starting to see like, oh, okay, maybe he had something going for him. And, Twilight is one thing. But now with AI, there's this, it's like super stark. If Twilight is junk food, then AI is just pure, processed, like refined to the nth degree sugar. Just, it's just like, whoa, like even like looking at the AI art, the visual art, it's just, to me, it's just like, it's so rich and full, and it's amazing. It's so cool. A lot of the art, the stuff that people have created with AI, it's so amazing. And at the same time, I feel like it's just missing substance.
Thin. It feels thin to me because
Thin,
I use AI to generate the cover art from one of our other shows.
Sure.
And it's, because I have never learned Photoshop. I refuse to learn it. At this point, it would be like, swatting flies with a nuke. So it's just like, oh no, I can use this to create just something that's simple. Because it's literally just the thumbnail you see. And even though I've gotten some decent things to come out of it, even looking at it, I'm just like, I know how thin this is. It just
yeah.
So everyone on this show, does creative stuff as well. Like Ray does, he paints and draws and stuff like that. And you can just look at it and see that there's a depth to it that came from someone. Whereas, I put in a sentence and it came up with this, this whatever it was, for the cover art. And I'm just like, okay, it's thin, it's fine. It's a good placeholder. It is what it is. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I actually just re-listened to Kaiju Preservation Society again.
Oh, nice.
From John Scalzi, and he talks about that at the end of the thing. He's like, this was potato chips. He goes, every so often you just need a bag of potato chips to eat. And and then I'll go back to writing the 4-course meal or stuff. So I totally get what you're saying. Totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The stories are, wow, that's perfect. John Scalzi, he perfectly summarized exactly how I feel.
So
a lot of fun. Just as someone who also has 3 first names,
He does.
how do you deal with it? Because
the whole like serial killer thing.
Yeah, man. Like it's...
I get even.
Just go with it. Hide the bodies well.
Lean into it, Ray.
There you go.
Choose violence. Violent communication.
We don't want to monopolize too much of your time. I did want to ask one more quick question real quick, and then we'll go around. See if anyone has any more. So what advice do you have for someone who might be looking into either getting into narrating or composing music, maybe for audiobooks or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Like what advice would you have for someone that maybe is running a D&D campaign, is like, maybe this is something I could look into or something?
Oh yeah. That's a great question. And using the example of D&D, I would say start composing for whatever it is you're doing. Lean into it in whatever it is that you're doing. So if you have a D&D campaign, lean into the fact that you're doing voices for every session. Think about the characters that you want to display. Come up with like a 10 characters that you just are going to have in your back pocket, and you like practice the voices. You kind of feel where they are in the throat or in the nose or whatever. Like you make a list of these 10 characters, and then you have them in your back pocket when the players inevitably kill the shopkeeper and you need to, deal with all of these police officers and all of that. So and then, record the sessions and compose for it, or just compose the theme for your campaign, and every play session as a ritual, sit and listen to it with your players. I think that there's something really, really great about D&D, to kind of harp on this a little bit longer, is that it's such fertile ground for multimedia exploration. I actually worked on a podcast called Dice Shame that was a D&D live play podcast, and I composed the music for it, and I did the sound design for it. And there's nothing more satisfying, especially when you're running a campaign, to be like, okay, what would this sound like? I remember playing D&D in high school and being like, oh, like, I wish, what's the theme music? Oh, the theme music is Diablo 2 theme. Okay, that's cool. And I think that there's something, and that's the creative process. That's the creative process, to have some inspiration, have some sort of like, there's a character. It's derivative maybe, but it's derivative of something that you've come up with that was iterative to begin with. You're basing a theme, like come up with themes for the different characters, for the music side. So that's it for D&D. And my general advice would just be to, it's common advice, but not to overthink it. There's so much information out there. And, this is another aspect of ChatGPT where, you can ask it like, how should I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And ChatGPT will give you a list of things to do. And you'll be, oh, cool. Thanks, ChatGPT. And you don't do anything. It's just like, it'll give you some cool answers, whatever. But, thinking about doing the thing, planning the thing, all of that, it keeps you from actually doing the thing. So if you want to be a narrator, find your favorite book and start reading it aloud into your phone speaker if you don't have a microphone or whatever, and listen to it and, critique yourself, or not, just do it, and find a short story and, record that and put it on YouTube, and it'll get flagged, and, they'll take it down, whatever. Like, I probably shouldn't be, telling people to copyright infringe as a media producer, but I don't know. That's what I did. I recorded a Ray Bradbury short story called The Pedestrian, and it had like 500,000 views because students were like being assigned it, and they would just listen to it because they didn't want to read it.
Cold notes.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, I think it was 2 months ago, it got flagged and taken down by the estate of Ray Bradbury, which a little bit I felt like, I'm sorry, Ray Bradbury estate. I have besmirched your name. I apologize, because he's a truly an icon and one of my biggest inspirations. But also, I think he'd be, I don't know. Who knows? But he, yeah. It was. I don't know where I'm going now. ChatGPT. How do I finish this thought? It's done. Is the advice given?
Yes,
Justin,
absolutely.
what you said was absolutely perfect. You did not do anything wrong. Oh, thank you.
I was going to say, do it in text and voice, and then it'll be basically what I'd be telling you. So,
Justin, you are fantastic. As a host of this podcast, my name being Eugene, I just want to tell you that you are the most handsome guest we've ever had. And you got a lot of hair, too. As someone with a lot of hair, I just think that you have a great head of hair.
Oh, he's mouthing it.
That's right.
why'd it go wrong?
Yosemite Sam that smoked too much.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Does anyone have any other final questions they want to ask Mr. James before we move on to our next segment?
I do have one last one.
All right, Ray. What's your last question?
My last question is what's a dream series that you would love to actually read?
Good question.
Ooh, the dream series that I would like to read. I got asked this at a con, and I just completely gapped. And I was just like, I don't know, Harry Potter? And I was not at all. Like, it's not even close to my dream series. I don't know why I said that. And then I came up with the answer. I was like, that's what I should have said. And now in this moment,
You can't remember what it is.
I can't remember what.
If you remember it before the end of the show, just blurt it out. Like, it doesn't matter what we're in the middle of. If you're just like, that was it, go for it, dude.
It's all good.
I'll do that. It'll be. I'll just be quiet for the entire thing. They'll think that I've left, and then I'm just gonna go for it.
It'll be after credits. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The Dark Tower. That's what it was. It was the Dark. No. Well, let's go ahead and move on into. I'm sorry, Sean, Chris. Did either of y'all have a last question y'all wanted to ask before we moved on?
We'll be here all night. We will take up all of your time.
Yes, we will. I'm trying to make sure because I know you're hot. I know because you've already run out of water. I'm like, we pause and let the man go get some water. Like,
did you see me? Was I doing this?
Oh, not quite, but yes, we will monopolize your time. We love talking to you. So,
oh well, you guys, I it's been absolutely fantastic. I think I am going to go check in on the puppy, and Milady and McKitty, and just try and cool off a bit. This booth is not designed for coolness. It is literally, I'm literally surrounded by insulation right now. So
that's what I figured. So
I'm melting, but you guys, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on, and all of your questions were great. I love the energy, and I mean, room full of Canadians. I mean, and a Texan for spice. We got it all here, right?
Well, let's just run through your social media real quick before we let you go. So where can we find you online, sir?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. I have, Justin Thomas James Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, Justin Thomas James over on Instagram. Wow, look at this. You're on the ball.
That's where I found the puppy.
I feel like I need to get my list up and running. Oh, here it is. I'm also on YouTube. I think it's Oreo 131313. I don't know why.
I was going to ask that, like, how did that? Because you obviously got your name for the other things. I was like, where did Oreo 1313?
You know what?
Come from?
I recently changed it. Stupid inside joke that I'm not going to get into right now.
Fair enough.
But I recently changed it to Justin Thomas James because I think I'd rather be known as Justin Thomas James, and not a cookie. So like a slightly evil cookie, with unlucky.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we've got TikTok, Justin James, 419. Don't know why it's 419. I think TikTok assigned me that automatically. And yeah, I post things every now and then. I want to get into it more. I'd love to get into talking just about my thoughts on story and storytelling and the depth of story and pretty much what we were talking about around AI. I want to explore that more. So follow me there if you're interested in more of that someday in the distant future. I think that's it.
Well, thanks again for coming on. We'd love to have you back on again some other time. If there's anything that especially if you've got a book or something coming out that you really want to promote, we'd love to have you back on and talk about that. So,
hey, well, I'll tell you what, I will do a little shameless plug here. And actually, no, it's this plug is for the team, and I want to just say Soundbooth Theater developed an app called Soundbooth, the Soundbooth app, and it's doing its own thing. It's a audio book and audio drama listening platform, and over there, a lot of people here have been talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl. And if you've listened to the end credits, you've heard that the Dungeon Crawler Carl AIT is available exclusively on Soundbooth. And you can listen to it there. That's Dungeon Crawler Carl with sound effects, music, and Jeff Hayes still as Donut, even though there's a full cast around him. They still wanted Jeff as Donut. Which I totally understand. So check that out. You can get the entire first season there, and you get a discount if you buy the whole season together. Seasons 2 and 3 are in production, so
nice.
Keep your eyes and ears out.
I've got the app. It works great. So
yes, it does.
Fantastic.
I am very, very glad to hear that. This is the third full remake of the app.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long journey, but we're here.
Nice. Well, thanks again for coming on and doing the interview, man. So hopefully we'll keep in touch.
Thank you. Yes, you too. Take care, all of you, and I hope you'll have me back again.
Oh, absolutely.
Take care.
So, have a good
you.
evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That went really good. All right. We'll talk about that after the show. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on into what else we've been reading. Let's see here. Well, first off, let me start off with our next book. So our next book, because we finally kind of have a schedule again, is From a Certain Point of View. It's a Star Wars book. There's like multiple writers on it, so I didn't list them all. And then after that, we're going to end up doing Beware of Chicken. I don't want to say they're our next 2 episodes necessarily. I will say our next episode will be from a certain point of view. That is definitely on the schedule. And then who knows, we may do another book, or hopefully we can get another interview. So, because these have always been a lot of fun. And I hope the people who are watching and listening think the same. So, but that being said, what else have you been reading? Anyone want to go first?
I'll jump in. Your list is long. Mine's quick.
All right, Ray, what else have you been listening to or reading?
Dead Tired. And it is going to be my next pick. And Dead Tired was a lot of fun.
It's so good.
I think this group's going to enjoy it.
It's very entertaining.
It's entertaining. And then I dipped back into the Bobaverse as well. I needed some comfort food. So, a little bit of Bobaverse.
Nice. I've gone back and re-listened to a bunch of stuff because I'm in summertime or whatever. So new things I've been reading though. I read, and I didn't bring it up, An Unexpected Hero by Rhett C. Bruno and Jamie Castle. It is a Soundbooth production. He wasn't the main narrator on it, but he did do several voices in it. So maybe I'll have to have him back on so we can talk about some of the voices. I did Gateway X-Force Book 18 by Craig Allenson. I'm still in it. Like, I can't believe it's book 18 and I'm still down from War, Skippy and Joe. Like I still love what's going on there. And then I also did Beware of Chicken books 3 and 4 by Casual Farmer. And yeah, I'm enjoying that series. I really enjoyed book 3. I know Joseph has finally gotten through it. Book 4 is okay, but book 3 was fantastic. And I know where he even was telling me, he's just like, when I hit this certain point in the book, I was just like, yes, you're involved in a book when you're like cheering out loud because of stuff that happens in it. So, but yeah, that's the stuff I've been reading. Sean, what else you been reading?
I listened to Gateway X-Force Book 18. Loved it. Currently listening to Orconomics, the Joseph recommendation.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through it, and it's interesting. Some of it's really good, and then others are like the transitions are like non-existent. So you're like a paragraph in, and like, who the hell's talking? And it's like, it's weird. I'm reading Cyborg by Martin Caidin. That's the basis for $6 Million Man, which I'm about halfway through it. He's still like going through surgeries and stuff like that. It's good, but very different from the $6 Million Man, but they had to clean it up for TV. So yeah, whatever. And then, the next on my list, because I'll be starting it short, Flybot comes out tomorrow by Dennis Taylor.
Yes, it's on my, that's the next one I'll be hitting.
That's the next one on my list. And Where Ravens Roost by Karen Norton. I talked about her last time on the last show and all that. So it's like part 1 or book 1 of a 3-part mystery kind of novel. So I'm looking forward to reading that and getting back to Karen and asking her questions and critiquing it. So
nice. Yeah. All right, Chris, what else you been reading?
So many. Apparently I've been going on a real tear. So I don't remember where I left off, but there's this series. It was going to be Ray's pick, and then he didn't quite like it, but I picked up on it. It's called the Crow Investigation Series, and there's 9. The 9th book just came out, but I'm on book 5, and it's a cozy paranormal mystery. It's cozy, pretty low stakes, but I like it because it's set in London, and it's about 4 magical families and sort of murder mysteries and stuff like that. And then I read Dead Tired. I listened to Dead Tired. And I was, when I saw the cover and I'm like,
she was like, no,
I'm probably not going to like this, but I'm doing this because we're interviewing. Okay. And then I'm like, oh, this is delightful. So we've got the second one. I read Faith Breaker by Hannah Canner, which is the last in her God Killer series. I like the way it ended. She didn't kill a whole lot of people. She killed a few people,
Spoilers.
but not the ones that I wanted. If she killed main characters, I would have revolted.
Spoilers.
Nobody's gonna read them. Anyways, they're very good. It's very high stakes, very fast paced fantasy series. And then I was burning through all of our audiobooks, and I'm like, I need something for free, which is the first time I've done it. And there was this omnibus of 4 books by Ava Chase. And it's straight up smut. It's called Dragon Shifter Mates. It's book 1 through 4. It was so
good. That's hilarious.
It was so good. I'm like, oh my God. It was a good time.
Pure smut.
with some stuff, but still, like, it was enjoyable. And then I read Quicksilver, which is a popular romantasy. It was 600 pages. And like, it took me 400 of those to be like, I mean, I guess it's fine. It was okay. I had to read and I'm going to read the next one because that's when she introduced the side characters that I really liked. So I'm going to read the next one because of the side characters, not because of the 2 main characters. I don't give a shit about them. The side characters. And then for my book club, for next month, we're reading something called What You Need Is in the Library. What You're Looking For Is in the Library. And it is a translated Japanese book. And it's just this sweet, really cozy, low stakes story about 4 individuals. And they're each going through something in their life. It's not dire, but they feel stuck. And so through a series of events, they go to this library. And the woman who works behind the reference desk is this person who just seems to know what they need to read to get them on the right path. And it's just really sweet and it's delightful. And I'm only like a third of the way through, but I really, really like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and move on to our social media. I still love that. I'm glad we can.
I agree with Sai though. I think we need to get you to voice it and
No, I'm not a professional voice actor. Although apparently I have
you're a professional actor.
You are an award-winning actor.
That's true. All right. So anyway, you can find us at epicallygeeky.com, where you can find all the shows we do, including the Creatively Geeky Show, the Marginally Geeky Show, Sustainably Geeky, and of course the Epically Geeky Show. And there you can also find our links to social media, pretty much Facebook and Instagram at Epically Geeky. So where can we find you online, Ray?
So first on Wikipedia, saving all of the high school students from Sean's edits, because fuck, buddy, you were busy this month. I know it's like
I was using Chat GPT. It helped.
And then the Reluctant Yeti on Instagram and Blue Sky. Let's go with Instagram.
Chris, where can we find you?
On Instagram at Moody Midlife, and my Substack, which is chrisaandrew.substack.com. And I put out a newsletter every Friday, and it's free. And it's just a quirky little 3 to 5 minute read.
Yeah, I haven't done the last one yet, but I'm caught up on the rest of them. So, yeah. Sean, where can we find you online?
Oh, just totally screwing with Wikipedia. It's been a busy month, exam time, but and then your favorite broken toy on Instagram and TikTok.
And as always, you can find my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Shane on Instagram. Pretty much just Instagram. For everyone on the site, have a good night.